Hello and welcome to Christ Gospel Devotional. My name is Mercy and today I would like to discuss the second chapter of Galatians, where Paul presents some serious deduction regarding how we are made right with God. This chapter begins with Paul returning to Jerusalem after 14 years and engaging in arguments with some Jewish leaders and believers. After some debate, they agree that Jewish believers are no longer subject to Jewish regulations and are no longer required to follow the law. Paul expresses his frustration as though he has been running the race in vain because they keep returning to the law, and he makes four critical deductions here. The first is that false believers are the ones that insist that we follow the law. Paul refers to those that are insisting that Titus be circumcised as false believers. Paul is determined to prevent the truth of the gospel from being tainted by regulations and legalistic practices. Paul even confronts Peter, calling out his hypocrisy for denying new believers the truth and freedom given by Christ. The gospel message is simple and clear. A person is made right with God by faith in Jesus Christ and not obedience to the law. Paul asserts that no one will ever be made right with God through the law. If your goal is to be made right with God, simply believe in Jesus Christ. The second deduction that Paul makes is that if we are found guilty or a sinner after placing our faith in Christ, it would imply that Christ misled us, which cannot be true. Therefore, if you have faith in Christ, you are no longer guilty. The third deduction that Paul makes is that by attempting to follow the law is the fact that we are actually sinning. If you have started believing in Christ, you should not return to doing the works of the law. Doing so makes you a sinner. Instead, you should believe in Jesus and live for God. The fourth deduction Paul makes is that trying to keep the law effectively nullifies Christ's work on the cross. If we could be made right by keeping the law, then Christ's death would be meaningless. Thus, you cannot keep the law without voiding the power of Christ's sacrifice.